John, 21, $21 stolen, but this investigation was not about money, it was about trust. We tested several, some passed, some failed. Caught on camera, he fumbles with our roll of money, pulls out the bill. Now watch close. He palms the cash, puts back the rest, $10 lighter, $10 stolen in the blink of an eye. Let's slow it down. In a matter of seconds, we were robbed, not by your common criminal, by a car wash employee, someone you trust with your property. A lot of people in Las Vegas use valets. You trust them with your possessions and your car. Well, we've set out to test them. We have a group of items here, and we're going to place them in the individual spots. We have $17. I'm going to put it right here. We have 82 cents in change. I have a $5,000 engagement diamond ring. I'm going to put it right here. An expensive gold cufflink. We'll put it right here. Let's see what happens. Dressed down in a hat, looking like your average Joe, I drove up to a couple valets at the Galleria Mall and the outlets. Spent around 20 minutes at each spot, came back, nothing was missing. They didn't take one item. Things were looking pretty good. So I moved on to Royal Hand Car Wash on Las Vegas Boulevard. Big mistake. Wait here. The bait, the goodies, hooked our first dishonest employee. Keep your eye on the bottom of the screen. As he vacuums, he reaches over the seat. With his other hand, he steals $11. Then puts a few bucks back in the same spot, making it look like nothing was taken. It's a very slight movement, almost like he's done it before. Seems to take the money, and then he goes down the vacuum. And you say that doesn't happen normally?
Right.
They normally come. A few days later, I showed the video to owner Frank Lopez, who says in 2 years, he hasn't had one complaint till now.
I would like to find out who did it, and right away, it dismissed.
Next up, Washworks on South Rainbow. You've already seen this one, but by this time, I moved the money closer to the other valuables, even put some papers on top. Still, the first guy went for the money, but didn't take anything. The next guy couldn't help himself, brushed aside the cufflink, the ring, and took a 10, the biggest bill in the batch, leaving the others, again, hoping I wouldn't notice or the cameras above wouldn't notice. Sorry, you were wrong. Do you mind if we show you the video?
Sure.
Okay. After watching the video, owner Richard Olden tried to explain.
We have people that are getting a low hourly rate, and frankly, if you dangle a big enough chunk of meat in front of somebody, they may take a bite.
Just because there's money sitting out doesn't mean someone should take it, right?
Absolutely not.
In fairness, Washworks does have a sign out front warning customers to remove all valuables, but Olden says there's no excuse for stealing. Don't lose hope. The last business was Charleston Car Wash. Here's the hidden camera video. Once again, it may look like another car wash employee steals the roll of money. You would be wrong. This guy was honest. In fact, your guy actually brought the money out to me and handed it to me and said it's better to be on the safe side.
You know, we're happy for our business here that we can do this kind of thing.
He should be proud. The only car wash out of 3 that did the right thing. What does that say? You decide. Shelley, it worked with little effort. Using this homemade ID, I flew across the country, raising some major concerns about airport security. Here's the approach. The security guard greets me with a flimsy homemade ID in my hand. She looks at the identification card and lets me go right by. Not one question, not one second glance. It was that easy. Here's how it was done. We booked online, then we sat at a computer. Using a simple program, all of my accurate information was put on the screen. My picture, which was taken up against a wall at our station, was added. It's as basic as it gets. We typed identification card at the top, printed the paper copy, cut it out, placed the paper in plastic, laminated. The whole process took about an hour. I was ready to go. Looking like an everyday traveler, drove to McCarran Airport. And then we'll see what happens. The result was a little surprising. I went right up to the first security guard, showed the ID. He let me go. I couldn't believe it. So I went back again, and this cheap ID with no back to it worked again. The scary thing is I could have been anybody, and I was getting on an airplane. My final destination? To right here in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. I'm going to take the ID into the Senate office building behind me and see what Ensign and Reed have to say.
That's good that you did that. I like that.
Senator John Ensign looked at the ID and made it clear that he's trying to improve airport security.
The fact that you got through with a fake ID indicates how important it is that all of the states implement the Real ID law.
Then it was Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid's turn. At first, he had a much different response.
Well, I didn't think you were any kind of a terrorist or anything.
Well, I'm not a terrorist, but, you know, this isn't a real ID. I mean, it has all my real information on it, obviously.
Well, but of course, I understand that. But also you had to go through metal detectors and other such things. The ID check is only part of what they look for as they go through.
But he did agree that the system needs to be tested.
If you came back here for no other reason than to see if this would work, this false idea, it's worth your trip.
It was well worth our trip. Here's something you might not know. A Transportation Security Administration representative told me off camera that the people who check IDs at this spot in McCarran are not with TSA. They're airline contracted employees. The airline was US Air. An official with the airline says these security guards are trained, but couldn't say whether they have the same training as a TSA security guard.
Took this identification card.
So I went directly to Robert Regal, who's a director inside the Office of Intelligence and Analysis with Homeland Security.
Anytime that you have human control of issues like security, there's going to be a fallibility to it. Nothing is perfect.
But we can improve. Senator Ensign wants a universal fail-safe ID to prevent someone else from using homemade IDs and getting on an airplane. The number one fear is someone who poses a threat ends up fooling the system.
Hey, Bob DeNennis, I'm with Fox 5 News. I want to break into your house. I want to break into your house. I just want to see if I can break into your house.
Each look priceless, every person baffled. Why would a news reporter come to my house and say such a thing? Because with a bump key, a hammering device, and the right lock, breaking in isn't that hard, even for the average guy like me.
This is a bump key. There is nothing illegal to having this key in my possession.
That's frightening. Phil Pupanik with A&B Security says bump keys have been around for years.
I believe that every burglar knows about it.
In fact, you can go on the internet to find these keys and buy a whole set like we did, one for every lock. Each key anywhere from $1 to $3.50. They even give discounts and offer free shipping. You can also buy a special hammering device for around $20.
There's no way to tell the lock has been bumped.
So good luck trying to convince your insurance company you're robbed when it looks like you left your door unlocked. Here's how it works. The bump key is inserted in a lock. Then by hitting the end of the key with a hammering device, the pins are pushed up, which turns the cylinder. It's that simple. I had a hard time believing it was so easy, so they gave me a little lesson. I gave it a shot.
Not real handy, so.
Jim, okay, we'll figure it out for you.
Oh. Whoa! Look at that.
I had to show somebody. Went right down the street with the bump key and hammering device and met Robert Williams, who let me attempt to break in.
Oh, there you go. We got it.
Yeah, you did.
Got it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's quite scary, actually. I mean, a person could get into anybody's house.
Does it make you think maybe you should get another lock?
Well, what kind of lock's going to work? I mean, if it's going to do it on this one, it's going to do it on most.
But Phil recommends Medico, a lock he claims is bump resistant. It's a little more money, but putting a price on your possessions, your safety, and the safety of your family, it's well worth it. Because most crooks aren't going to come up to your door and announce they're breaking in.